pleasant good evening to all my fans spread throughout the globe, well-wishers, strangers, one and all. A very pleasant good evening and welcome to your favorite knowledge channel. Knowledge dissemination is our business and you are our audience. So we are pleased to be here as usual to share the good word. So the normal format will follow. We will share a motivational word. Today I will ask a motivational question. We tell you about our services and then we do the presentation and remind you of our services. So the motivational question for today: what does it take to motivate you, or what motivates you to continue living? What is your motivation in terms of the experience, the journey called life? So if you ponder carefully upon that, your answer certainly will vary. Different things motivate different persons. But the topic for today is sustaining motivation. And I'm saying to you, the mere fact that you are alive should be sufficient motivation to propel you forward. I am fully aware of the many challenges that many citizens face, and some of those challenges are not a walk in the park by any means, but let us recognize that this life holds many possibilities. There are many challenges that can be overcome, and our motivation having life is to continue living and living to the best of our ability. So the mere fact that you have life, I'm saying that is indeed a huge motivation to live. Because as you well know, there is a saying that everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. And that statement captures the desire to live, Yes, as you transition and you go into the next realm, many people harbor heaven. But the point is, many of them are not harboring death. So, as I speak to you, and before I get into the presentation, continue to motivate yourselves because you are alive. Pandemic or not, you are alive. And once you are alive, there is hope, there are possibilities, and it's up to us to do our very best under divine guidance to make those possibilities come true. So we remind you that we are available. I, your life coach, Imo Rameses Bakari, provide coaching services, counseling services. We provide workshop, whether it's in the area of the leadership, entrepreneurship, communication, anger management, emotional intelligence, the role of psychology in business, psychology and you name the area, we are available to either conduct a one-on-one coaching session or a workshop in terms of facilitating your development. All you have to do is to give us a call on 1-868-778-5141 or 1-868-779-2544 or email us at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com. So we expect your call, we expect an email, and we are ready to offer our services so that you could be better and that life could be a bit easier. So we await your calls and your emails. As I mentioned a while ago, the topic for today is sustaining motivation. And when we think about being motivated, we think about that force that will propel us to act in a purposeful manner, And there are many different things we are motivated by. Some people are motivated by the acquisition of a lot of finance, the acquisition of professional and academic qualifications, by being honest in what they do. There's a whole range of reasons that people are motivated. Some people are motivated to do missionary work, serving their God, trying to win souls. Some people are motivated in terms of helping the less fortunate in society. Some people are motivated to constantly share and impart their knowledge, as I am doing here through my channel, sharing and imparting my knowledge and experience with you who are tuned in, listening, and viewing. So, sustaining motivation is very, very important, because you may have a great ability, right? You may have great talent, but at the end of the day, if motivation is lacking, it will compromise. You know, in the past, you know, psychologists would have focused a lot on cognitive capacity, right? But there is a very strong positive correlation running through cognition, motivation, and emotions. That if you are emotionally distressed, it will affect the quality of your thinking, all right? And of course, if you are not motivated, you know, so you need emotional balance, you need clear cognition, and you need a high state of motivation. As I said in the motivational question and word, that the mere fact that you are living, that should propel you on a daily basis to think of what can be done to grow yourself. Because life is a journey, death is the final destination. So in the meantime, between time, you're going to do all that you can do and do it now. You cannot guarantee your time span on this earth. And since you cannot guarantee that, and you have life at this moment, because all that we own are the moments. And since we own the moments, we must be motivated to make the very best of our moments, because the future that we envisage is dependent on what we do now. So, being blessed with life, I'm saying that's the prime motivation. And having that motivation, as I have said in many other presentations, think about your many talents, all right? Think about maintaining excellence in what you do. Think of the steps that you have devised to become a better you. And the medium to make it happen is the life that you are blessed with. So, it is critical that you dig deeply within yourself. Some persons are motivated in an intrinsic manner for the sake of motivation from an internal perspective, in that they are not dependent on external stimulation. I read in some of my psychology literature that they say that the extroverted types certainly depend on others and external stimuli to stimulate them to operate in the engaged manner in which they do. Whereas those with the internal locus of control, they are stimulated on an internal basis and from within, you know, so they can draw on that desire to act on purpose from within their bosoms. So whatever the motivation you are driven by, whether intrinsically or intrinsically, at the end of the day, both levels of motivation will have value, right? In that, you know, if you achieve something, I mean, you could reinforce yourself by, you know, rewarding yourself, by treating yourself nicely. Somebody, a parent, may give a child a gift, in whatever form, for a good performance in the examination. All that has value. But at the end of the day, the child must be motivated from the point of view of recognizing the value of education and acting on purpose to become the very best they can be. But an intrinsic reward certainly will not hurt. So let us strike that balance. Let us also recognize that sometimes motivation will require us to sacrifice, in that we need to forego current pleasures for a greater good. So in your ability, you know, to defer gratification is also a very important motivational tool when you have a clear vision and when you have an appreciation of the bigger picture that you are all driving towards. So the message that I am driving home today to you is that we need to summon that desire to captivate hope. One of my very early presentation was entitled Cultivating Hope. And I'm saying, if you have life, there's great hope. If you have life, it's the driver to motivate you to act, to become better, to grow, and to fulfill your potential on this earth. Alright? So think about it. Some persons are in very trying circumstances, and the motivation they need may have to come through somebody else. It's not everyone can summon the strength. And there is a saying that what you have to say may be the sermon that someone is dependent on. And that word that you may not even be consciously focusing on in having a certain kind of impact might be a word that somebody is dependent on coming from you to give them that impetus and that push to continue. Because as we all know, many people are out of work. Many people cannot pay their bills. Many people cannot put food on the table. And it's a challenge for them to be motivated. So those who can assist them, certainly it's a responsibility you should take up on your shoulders to at least give them support until they are able to act on their own in terms of being in an empowered state. For example, many persons might be qualified in many different areas and they cannot find employment in the particular field. Now the thing about it, you know, all forms of employment have value, right? And if you're in a position where no income at all is coming your way, and you can get any type of employment that can provide some income, certainly some income is better than no income. So you've got to bury pride and take it step by step. Take the opportunities, even though it mightn't be within your field of endeavor, and use it as a stepping stone. Alright? So there is no shame, even though you cannot find employment in your field of training, to take up any kind of employment that may assist you in paying a bill, or two, that may assist you in putting a meal on the table. So I'm saying, open up your mind, open up your thoughts, humble yourselves, and recognize it is a starting point, right? It mightn't be what you desire, but it's a starting point, and it's also an opportunity for you to build work experience, starting from where you are starting and moving forward, all right? Many persons cannot eat, all right? There are some NGOs in Trinidad that have taken up a very noble exercise. I know Umadat Marad, agricultural economist, the Shaw Foundation, and other groups and individuals have been distributing seeds and plants, which is a very noble exercise. In that, if you have any form of land space and food is a challenge, by planting your seeds, by planting your plants, you are giving yourself the opportunity to eat in a matter of weeks in terms of lettuce and things like patroy, in a matter of about 3 months for tomatoes, right? Peppers about 8 weeks, all right? Melangen about 3 months, all right? You have cassava that you could get in about 9 months. You have green fig, you can get in about 9 months also, right? You have citrus, probably may get in about 18 months. So the point I'm saying is that both at a short crop basis, mid-term and long-term, you can put down crops, all right? When you are in a position where you can reap staples like yam and cassava and fig and plantain and edos and these types of food, all you need to provide a meal is probably some meat, if you can afford some fish, so that even though you can't afford a fish, but if you have a line, you could throw a line, right, and try to catch a fish or two, all right? You could get some saltfish if you could afford, and you have a meal, protein backed up with your carbohydrates, all right? You have fruits if you lay that kind of foundation. So utilize your land space as a motivation to eat if you are challenged with food, because we're in a bad situation in Trinidad where most of the food that we eat are imported, right? And that is a very serious situation. And the motivation that should exist among all of us is to plant as much as possible in any available land space, because to eat we must, and we have to act in a purposeful manner. So the efforts of these individuals and NGOs in the distributing of the seedlings and the plants is indeed a very beautiful gesture, and more people must respond in a positive way in giving themselves an opportunity to eat. So let us think out of the box. Let us think of things that were not thought of before in terms of what we can do. So we need minds to come together in terms of creating ideas and we can put to work. We need people to be supporting each other because many people are already buckling under the strain, the mental and economic stresses of the pandemic, right? So outside of psychological support, outside of grants and that kind of stuff, people need that motivation that will come from those who are more inspired to continue pushing forward, to help build them up and keep them up, all right? We are talking about the digital space and the possibilities that lie within. So opportunities must be troubleshooted, brainstorm, and come up with that where people can see openings, those who are so inclined in terms of creating a life that perhaps they did not envisage before. So I go back to my central point. The fact that you have life, it is important that it is explored in a vigorous way to make you a better person during that short time that the Master has allotted us on this earth here. So, you know, life is the vehicle for our motivation, notwithstanding our challenges. I'm not downplaying the challenges that many people face. They are real. We have to confront them. We have to work together, and we have to really come up with innovative ways that can make the life really worth living. So dig deep within yourself and find the elements that you know that will give you that desire to move forward. We know that, for example, if you think of families, all right, we know that many parents from time immemorial, they will stay hungry and ensure that their children eat. So if they have a bread, they will do without any and cut up the bread in pieces and ensure that each child gets a piece of the bread, even though it has to go with water. And this is the kind of sacrificial attitude we need in terms of symbolizing motivation at its best, all right? Of course, none of us, Jesus the Christ, you know, we talk about the loaves that were converted to feed the multitude. But we have to find ways, through our collective genius that the ancient Egyptians spoke about, in feeding the multitudes, which include ourselves. We need to find ways to keep inspired, all right? And support for each other in every way. And that desire, through the medium of life, must really be elevated to its full value so that we can reap the kind of rewards that we are destined to. We were not placed on the planet Earth to suffer. We were given the tools by the Master, and the main tool is our creation in this life that we must make the very best of. So I remind you, I implore you, your life is sufficient motivation to make that positive difference, to enjoy the kind of life that you would like to live. So I leave you with that message. Do not be discouraged. Hold the faith, support each other, move positively, and act in your best interest through others so that you can realize the benefits that you are seeking. I thank you. I know the message resonated with you. And as usual, we ask you to support the channel, subscribe to the channel. We ask you to like the video, share the video, comment on the video, right? We also remind you that we will like to become the very best channel on the planet, and we can only do that through your support, financial and otherwise. So through our YP link, we ask of you to support the work of the channel or research projects by contributing through that link, which is on the description page. And we ask you to encourage your friends and family to become subscribers in this channel. So until next week, we ask you to stay tuned and to share the word in the meanwhile for our next message. Remember to contact us at 1-868-778-255141, 7792544, or you can email us at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com. So we thank you, and we will see you next week, please God. Bye.